This is Faith Encouraged with Father Barnabas Powell. Homilies designed to help you live a purposeful and faith-filled life in Jesus Christ. Here's Father Barnabas.
We live in a culture that is shaped by economics. Hasn't always been the case. In the history of human civilization, cultures and societies have been shaped around a lot of different things. But in our society, and especially since the so-called Enlightenment period, we have seen over and over again people create an entire society based on economics. Modern history can be written based on this understanding. Now, I want you to know that all truth is ultimately theological. All problems are ultimately problems of theology. Because if there is a God, and God has created His world, then the most important event that a human being can ever do in his life or ever is to discover who this God is and find out why He made us. But in our society, we have tended to reduce everything to economics, both the left and the right, whatever political spectrum you may be on. The reality is that in our culture, the capitalist or consumer society has shaped everything to the point that even now, even our religion in America is based on economics. I call it the Burger King idea of Christianity. Hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, special orders don't upset us. All we ask is that you let us serve it your way. And so sprung up all over the country are churches that meet the needs of certain demographic and different groups. And they even shape themselves around that culture. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but you know there is a cowboy church. There's actually several cowboy churches. Cowboy church, they wear Stetson hats to church on Sunday. Not the ladies, they don't wear Stetson. Well, maybe some of them do. They've got the chaps on, the whole 9 yards, and they dress up as cowboys to go to church. And in a lot of places, now some of you may know this and some of you may not. Those of you who come from the world that I came from, you may not be surprised by this, but the reality is there are churches now that when you walk into the church door, there is a lovely Starbucks or some kind of coffee shop right there in the front that you can get your coffee and then you go in. It's a very relaxed atmosphere. Now, gang, be careful. Do not hear this as a criticism. I am not criticizing any of these groups. I am simply saying, let's examine what has produced this in our society, because this is a new phenomenon. In the 20 centuries that the Christian church has existed, the vast majority of people who have loved God and who have followed God their whole lives would be absolutely, completely confused at the modern expression of Christianity in this country. Now, I'm not saying that's good or bad, I'm just saying that's what is. And many times, the reason why this happens is that we get into the notion to think that we are the center of attention in the world. I've told you the story before about the lady who came to me after church one Sunday and told me that she didn't really enjoy the service that much. And I responded to her, that's fine, dear, I didn't do it for you. There's a reason why I'm facing this way whenever I'm praying with you. The reason why I'm facing toward the altar, along with you, is because we're all part of a congregation. And we're offering adoration and worship to God. He is the center of attention in an Orthodox divine liturgy. Not you. Not even me. And I'm the one dressed up. It's God who is the center of attention. But in a consumeristic, capitalistic society, we can fall into the very dangerous trap of thinking that just simply meeting people's needs is all we're supposed to be doing. Now, what happens when we do that is we reduce worship to something other than what it is. Then we design the worship for you instead of for Him. And when that happens, brothers and sisters, we lose something vital. There has got to be a place in my life, in modern America, where I can take my eye off of my own desires at least for a few hours. There's got to be something healing and saving about a moment where I can stop being so focused narcissistically on my own problems and take my mind off myself and focus it on someone who is eternal and everlasting. That has to happen in our society. Now you may think, oh, well, Father Barnabas he's kind of upset about the capitalism and this consumeristic mentality. Maybe we should think about it more in a communistic way. No, they make the same mistake. You see, folks, the problem is the focus is always on you in any system that is based purely on economics. You're just seen as a cog in the machine. And the reality is, unless we get away from this understanding by adopting the timeless understanding of the Orthodox faith, we will constantly be stumbling over our own selves and trying to meet our own needs. And you'll say, oh, well, that church doesn't really meet my needs anymore. I'll go church shopping someplace else. But what if you could be in a place that is both timeless and relevant at the same time? What if there was an expression of Christianity, the oldest expression of Christianity, that could give your soul exactly what it needs to become whole and complete and to be able to function as you were created to function in the first place? I'm telling you that place exists. And it is in the timeless faith of the Orthodox Church. Now you can say, Father, you're being a little triumphalistic this morning, and that's okay. I'll accept that charge. Because, brothers and sisters, we are at a crossroads in our society. All you have to do is look at the last 50 years of societal evolution in this country, and you've seen the pendulum swing to the left and to the right, to the left and to the right, to the left and to the right, and disruption and chaos are continually becoming the norm. We have to have a remedy here, folks. We have to have a remedy for our children. We have to create a society of the church, at least in our own homes, at least in our own families, where we can help our children grow up in a healthy environment. And the only way to do that, brothers and sisters, I hate to tell you this. Actually, I don't really hate it. It's actually kind of fun. The only way to do this is through the cross. Now, this is hard for Americans to hear because we're used to being able to go, like my kids all the time. I told my daughter one time, she was saying, Daddy, I want you to buy me a toy. I want you to buy me a toy. Maybe I don't have any money to buy you a toy. Well, Daddy, just go to the wall and get some money. That's America. If you need money, just go to the wall, punch a few buttons, and the wall will give you money. It's easy. It's wonderful. Until the wall tells you, you ain't got no money. But in this society, we are going to have to face a very difficult choice. There's a new book out by a guy by the name of Rod Dreyer called The Benedict Option. And while I'm still processing all of the implications of what Rod is writing about, Rod's a fellow Orthodox Christian, and some of the things that he writes about, he does make some salient points about a very powerful reality. Business as usual, brothers and sisters, is not going to help us survive. In fact, it isn't helping us to survive. The fastest growing group of people in the United States of America, the most religious first world country on the planet, the fastest growing group in the United States of America are people who are no longer connected to the Orthodox faith. You've heard me say this statistic before as well, that 9 out of 10 Americans of Greek ancestry are no longer connected to the Greek Orthodox Church in the United States. Now, gang, we can fuss and scream and holler, and we can throw rocks at that. We can deal with the consequences of the fact that 6 in 10 of our kids will leave the church when they go to college. Most of them will not return. We can look at those statistics and we can say, wow, what a shame. The church has failed us. The bishop has failed us. The youth programs have failed us. When the reality is, folks, we failed. And we failed precisely because we have failed to come to this one conclusion. The only way through this challenging moment in American society for us, for we Christians, and for our children is through the cross of Jesus Christ. We have to be willing to suffer, maybe not necessarily literal crucifixion, but we have to be willing to suffer the glances and being said that we're foolish, or being said we're alarmists, or being said that we're out of touch, or we're old-fashioned, or that's an old fogey way of thinking. Do they say old fogey anymore? I don't know. I don't even know. That's how disconnected I am. But we have to come to the point where we reach this crossroads in our lives where we say we are going to be orthodox on purpose. We're going to actually practice the faith of our ancestors. We're not going to be spectators anymore. We're not going to simply come once a week or once a month or once every 6 months and call that being orthodox. And the reason why we can't is because it is already proven to fail. It's not working. Our children are not keeping the faith. Our grandchildren are not keeping the faith. And that means we have to do the effort within our own hearts to face the cross. There's a reason why the church, in her wisdom, gives us the veneration of the Holy Cross towards the middle of Great Lent. We're almost at the middle of Great Lent. Hallelujah. Those of you who have been fasting along with me, and you know me, I tell you this every year, Great Lent is always, the bottom falls out, things are horrible. My health has been horrible this Great Lent. It's been horrible. Forgive me. But the challenge is that when you're going through Great Lent and you're practicing it like an Orthodox Christian should practice it, when you're praying and you're fasting and you're giving alms and you're cutting back on different activities in your life so that you can focus on your faith. By the way, how many of you do spring cleaning? Do you do spring cleaning? I do spring cleaning at my house. I don't nearly do it. I should do spring cleaning every 3 weeks, but that's just the way it is with my place. But the reality is that we have to come to grips with the fact that we need a spiritual spring cleaning even in our own lives. Okay, guys, make room for our angels. Come on, let's go. God bless them. Y'all gonna have to build me a church. Y'all know that, don't you? You're just gonna have to do it. You have to suck it up and build me a church. You got to build me a church. I mean, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to do it. That's the way it is. You're just going to have to face it. Go ahead and square your shoulders, cinch up your big boy pants, and get the work done. You got to do it. You got to build a church. But in facing all of this spring cleaning of our souls, we are given over and over again the opportunity by the church to take seriously our faith and to practice our faith. And folks, you've heard me say this over and over again. I'm from the Forrest Gump school of orthodoxy. Orthodoxy is as orthodoxy does. Because we are at this crossroads in history, because we're at this crossroads with our children, because we are at this crossroads in our society, I need men and women who are courageous enough to be orthodox on purpose. This parish needs men and women. These children in this room need men and women who are courageous enough to be orthodox on purpose and practice this faith. What is this going to entail, Father? It's going to entail the cross. It's going to entail the willingness of temporary suffering to reach eternal and everlasting joy. And if you were to be able to see into eternity, by the way, do you know this is the reason why the church designs her worship the way she does? so that you can get a glimpse into eternity? Today, God will invite you to come and eat with Him, to dine with Him forever, to receive your very life from His life. That's eternity, folks. That's the way it's going to be forever for those of us who love God. God giving us Himself and us giving ourselves to Him, and in this glorious, wonderful transfer of joy and communion. This gift that God gives us is a glimpse into eternity. If you were to be able to really grasp that this morning, there is no price high enough that God could ask of you that you wouldn't give willingly to have this forever. It's going to cause you trouble. It's going to be inconvenient. It's going to disrupt your schedule. Let it happen. It's going to cost you some money. You got to build me a church. It's going to cost you a lot of money. But in 1,000 years, whatever you've invested, you will look back and say, if I'd only had 100 million times more, I'd have given it as much then too. Because of what's available to you. Because of what God offers you today in giving you Himself. The church, in her wisdom, gives us the veneration of the cross as a stark reminder of what we are called to become by grace through the love of Jesus Christ. This morning, today, in this place, we will process the cross. We will see what it costs to be orthodox on purpose and not simply spectators. And we will be again invited to throw off the easy mediocrity of temporary thinking and embrace the hard work of being orthodox on purpose. Amen.
Father Barnabas is the priest at the Saints Raphael, Nicholas, and Irene Greek Orthodox Church in Cumming, Georgia. Find out more at faithencouraged.org. That's faithencouraged.org.